So day 49, we're off, we're out, leaving Melk, a lovely little market outside of my accommodation today. We're going to wander through the old town and we're heading 22 miles today to, no, I'm not in Melk, I'm in Krems. I'm heading 22 miles to Melk, I'm on my way to Melk. So yeah, Krems has been lovely actually, it's a beautiful little old town. This morning we've got 22 miles, it should be pretty flat, it should be quite a lot along the river. Should be a sort of, hopefully, if the niggles stay away and I can run well today, this one should, fingers crossed, be one of the easier and more restful days. That is the hope anyway. I'm going to take it easy regardless. I've left a little bit later. It's coming up to about 8:30 now, which is probably the latest I've left on any of these runs. But I was just enjoying where I was staying and I had a little bit of a leisurely breakfast today. And yeah, just wanted to give myself, again, a bit more room. Sometimes you need a bit more room to breathe. And yeah, it's going to be cooler today, so it's okay. Sometimes now, if it's cooler, I can leave later. If I haven't got as many miles, it means I can leave later because I'm not running into the sort of the terrible midday to sort of mid-afternoon sun. Yeah, let's do a little checklist of things that are bothering me. Outside of my left knee, that little tendon. Inside of my heel, around my Achilles, a little bit. Everything's a little bit tight, but we are... Yeah, but I don't know, it's sometimes those things go away when I start moving, but it's just a question of keeping an eye on them and managing them. I feel in good spirits, I feel mentally pretty strong, and more so than maybe I did towards the end of yesterday, trying not to get run over by a big truck here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This guy is just sort of reversing and driving wherever he wants down an old street. Trying to hit old ladies, but there you go. Yeah, so I've had a good night and we're off to Melk. That's pretty much all there is really to say about that. I mean, the only other thing I really wanted to sort of mention is I absolutely stink. I haven't washed my kit for about 8 days now because I've not really found anywhere to do so. And I smell like a mixture of kind of really dry, stale body odour of about 3 weeks, a little bit of urine and cheese. If you really want to understand what all of that mixed together smells like, if you've ever been into the mountains, it smells like raclette. It's kind of disgraceful. I mean, raclette is sort of nice until you realise, until you make that correlation. But yeah, I am not a pleasant person to be around right now. So when I wander into shops and stuff, it's all a little bit awkward. But anyway, there's a greater cause here at play. So I've got to keep doing what I'm doing. Speaking of which, I better crack on and I will update you on the way, do the usual wrap, and yeah, let's hope this thing is still on my face, not the beard, the smile, when I get to the other end. So today's run I wanted to dedicate to the team at 33 Fuel, Warren and Erica. They have been such a fantastic support to me over the years. They produce fantastic product. I haven't used anything, I wouldn't use anything on a run like this that I don't absolutely trust. And I've used 33 Fuel for a decade, pretty much. You know, I ran the MDS using it, the Marathon des Sables. Warren actually on the 2 days before the Marathon des Sables, because everything in the Marathon des Sables has to be labelled and has the calorie content, but you don't really want to take the original packaging because it can be heavy. He hand-packed and hand-cycled nutrition to me over 3 days before the race and hand-delivered it. I mean, that's the level of kind of commitment that Warren has, and how the understanding of the nature of these kind of events and challenges and the running world that he has in the performance world. He is a part of it. He runs the races. First time I met him was through work, and we sat in a cafe and had coffee. It was supposed to be like an hour meeting, and we ended up chatting about running and races and Lord knows what for about 3 hours. It actually inspired me to go on to do one of the races that has become my nemesis, the Lavaredo, which I've never quite forgiven him for. But before this challenge, I spoke to him and said, would you be willing to kind of help me out with some nutrition for the run? And without blinking, he said yes, because he just gets it. They just get it. And I spoke to him for hours and hours and hours, not just about the nutrition, but about the challenge and the mentality and the psychology. And he was a wonderful kind of sounding board for the planning of this as well. And he's basically become a friend and a support. And as I said, their products are amazing. You should check them out. They do all sorts of they've got a really solid range of super greens. They've got recovery or sort of meal replacement shakes, which are brilliant if you want to have something for breakfast. But when you're on events like this, if you don't want to have a solid breakfast, you can't get it. They do gels. They're all made from real food ingredients. They are nutritionally really well balanced with no kind of nasties and stuff, and they're delicious. That's the main thing, delicious. You actually look forward to eating them. They've been the foundation of my nutrition on this run when I've been able to carry them. And yeah, I just wanted to say a massive thanks to Warren and Erica, who are battling hard to make a company grow and get a message out there about how we should all be fueling. And I just really appreciate your support, team. It's definitely helped me along here. And yeah, so for product, but also from the chats that we've had, massive thanks. And I am truly, truly grateful. And this run today is for you. So day 49 is run, 24 miles today pretty much, and I've made it to Melk. And today's update, end of day update, is brought to you from the Abbey here, which is a little walk up a hill, but not a crazy one, a short hill. I decided that I'd come out and have a look at this. I don't often do these things, I'm often sort of go straight into my room and try and rest up and recuperate, but I just wanted to come up here and have a look at it. And it's pretty spectacular as well. So today's miles were good. I mean, absolutely stunning running from start to finish. The paths are along the side of the Danube, but instead of sort of long flat splits now, you've got these kind of hills either side, vineyards sweeping down both sides of the hills. And then you're just sort of cutting through these amazing kind of vineyards, apple orchards, pear orchards, on these paths that are just so perfectly well maintained, and pretty much flat most of the way, a few little rising bits, and cyclists everywhere. The sun was out but not too hot, and it's just glorious, absolutely glorious. It's probably one of the most spectacular sections that I've run these last 2 days, and yeah, jaw-dropping. One of the towns that I went through, Dornstein, it's a tiny little town, cobbled streets, tiny little narrow old towns that you sort of pick your way through. It's a little bit touristic with lots of cycle tourists and people going through. It's a bit busy, but very, very special, spectacular. Big church kind of rising up. The bells kind of rang as I was there waiting for the boat as well, which was great. That was the only real sort of problem that I had today, was I didn't realise, I thought I was going over a bridge. Turned out I had to get a ferry. For a minute I didn't know whether the ferry existed or not, so I had to wait there. And when the guy arrived in the boat, I was very, very thankful, because otherwise I'd have been doing another sort of 4 or 5 miles extra. Body felt good today, I have to say, for a 22 miler or whatever. It was supposed to be 22 on paper. Felt a little bit more tired than I have done when I've done these runs that have felt shorter in the sort of days gone by in this journey, and I think that is a real note that the fatigue now in this final sort of section is really kicking in. And as I've mentioned before in this, we all know that when you do a marathon or you do a half marathon, whatever, that it's the last third of the race, last quarter of the race that really counts. You know, the last 6 miles of a marathon, the last 3 miles of the half marathon, and that is clearly going to be the case here, that we're sort of entering the last third now. And this is where the fun starts. This is where, you know, that compound fatigue will start to kick in. Things will start to feel heavy. The body and the mind are starting to say, please have a day off. But I managed it well. I ran well. I was still kind of actually running a bit too fast, if anything. And it was really just a good day at the office. Got it done. Had a bit of a problem with my iPhone. The screen keeps dimming in daylight. I hope I've fixed it now, but for a minute I thought my iPhone had basically just shut down and stopped working. And that was a scary moment, because I thought for a moment that basically I'd be without the brains of the operation here on this run mission, which is without the iPhone I can't navigate, can't contact people, can't sort out accommodation, can't take photos and make videos like this one, can't do anything really, you know. So I had to fear. I also thought maybe if it had bulked, that all of the stuff that I've shot so far would be lost. So I ran probably for about 10Ks feeling a bit down about that, but I seem to have sort of somehow sorted out and fixed it and worked out a way. The iPhone storage is still a problem, so I'm struggling with that a bit. But what it does mean is I don't have as much footage on the video of all the beautiful things that I ran through today, which is just, it's a bit annoying. But flip side meant I got some momentum and I ran, you know, I could have stopped every 3 seconds to take a photo today. That's how beautiful it was. And now I'm in the beautiful town of Melk. I got a wonderful greeting from the 2 people, Maria and Marlena, in the tourist office, who kindly helped sort out some accommodation for me tonight, or a sort of camping spot. It actually looks like it's going to rain, so I actually sort of ended up, my sister sort of helped me find a hotel room, or basically a bed and breakfasty sort of type room. So I have a feeling it's going to rain. I don't have a tent. So anyway, I went down to see the campsite owner and said thank you very much for agreeing to put me up for free anyway. And he was dead chuffed that I bothered to wander down there, but I'm glad I did, because, you know, again, I don't want the kindness to go unthanked. And people have actually put their time and effort into making those things possible for me. But yeah, 49 days. Tomorrow we go day 50. And tomorrow could be a really good day. We've got Andy coming out, and my friend Andy, he's bringing me new shoes. Thank you, Saucony, for sorting those out. I've got a new pair of Speed 3s on their way. Hopefully he's bringing some positivity and some smiles. He's also bringing a car for some sections, so he's going to run with me. So we'll see if I have to drop the pack for a few days. But company, again, for a few days is going to be fantastic. And yeah, tomorrow we run a longer day. We've got 30 miles and we run for a place called Gren. So yeah, I mean, what a milestone to hit 50 tomorrow. Let's get it done though first. But yeah, the other thing to say is the beard sort of really starting to annoy me. Like carrying an extra weight around my face. But Instagram said that I have to keep it, so it stays. But anyway, I'm off to go and see if there's a view over here through this door and see what's going on for the rest of the Abbey. And yeah, thanks as ever for the support, and I will speak to you all again tomorrow.